All right, hello teacher and staff cello players. So excited to bring you this video today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to unpack your cello and how to unpack your bow. Now, if you have not watched my video on the bow, make sure that before you unpack your bow and start doing anything with it, you go and watch that. So this might be a good time to go check out that quick video on the bow. To unpack the bow, it's located on the front of our case. So we're gonna lift this up. We're gonna pull the bow out, and notice I'm not going to touch the hair. I can touch anywhere else though. So all of these bows, I've already done the job of putting rosin on them, which will help them be sticky. We'll talk more about rosin in class. So I'm going to tighten this cello bow. I gave it 4.5 tightens. It's got a nice curve. It doesn't look overly tight. We're all set to go. I'm gonna gently set this down. We'll come back to the bow later. Now let's unpack our cello. Our cello can be unpacked sitting on its side. I'm going to undo the small end. I'm gonna undo the long end. And from here, I can actually open the cello up, gently take the cello out of the case, always securing the cello with one hand, and I can move this to the side. Now, we have to adjust the end pin. So this cello is gonna go back down. I'm gonna go down to the end pin here, and I'm gonna loosen it. And remember the rule of thumb we talked about during sizing. I like to make the hang loose symbol and use that as a general guide for how long the end pin should be. So I'm going to pull this end pin out, make the hang loose. Maybe I've got about a 1/2 inch on either side. I think that'll work. I'm gonna tighten this, not too tight, but tight enough. And now I'm going to gently bring this up. Now, when I'm sitting with the cello, how do you know if it's tall enough? Well, there are a couple indicators. The first indicator is when you're sitting up tall in your chair, are you able to comfortably have both of your legs on the sides of the cello? If you can, that's a pretty good sign. You don't want your cello standing up tall like this. You want your cello kind of kicked out at an angle, and I like to say that this top part of the cello should be right at the top of your torso, maybe right at the top of that breastbone area. So you're gonna bring this down, good spot, and your final indicator is going to be your ear. Your left ear, you should have this peg right behind it. And now you're all set up. So there are a couple different ways you can make sound with our cello. To pluck, make a thumbs up, turn that thumb to the side, and fly it into the side of the fingerboard. Notice I'm not underneath, I'm not on top, I'm not down like this, and I'm not on the tip of my thumb. I'm on the big fat part of my thumb. Now I can take my first finger and I can walk over to each one of the strings, our lowest strings, and move higher. So you can experiment with the different kind of sounds you can make. Now let's try using the bow. So now I'm gonna pick up my bow, I'm not gonna touch the hair, and I'm going to do what I'm gonna call our basic bow hold. Our basic bow hold has our thumb on the bottom of this piece that we call the frog. We're gonna take our thumb, put it right there, and we're gonna take the rest of our fingers and gently lay them over. So if you wanna zoom in here, you can take a look at what my cello bow hold looks like. This is my basic bow hold, and this will set you up for success when we start learning your full bow hold. To make some sounds, I'm going to turn this bow over, I'm gonna set my arm down on the strings, and then by putting weight into the bow stick and moving my bow, I'm gonna be able to create sound. This bow needs a little bit more rosin. So this bow needs a little bit more rosin, and then it'll grip the strings a little bit better, but you get the idea. So now that we're done experimenting with that, you can also try putting some fingers down if you want to be brave. But I'm gonna pack this up. So first, I'm gonna loosen my bow. I'm gonna loosen this a few times. Okay, we've got a curve. Bow hair's loose. Looks good. We're gonna set this down. Next thing we're gonna do, we're going to put our end pin back in. So we're gonna set this cello down, loosen the end pin, push the end pin in, nice and secure, and then grab our case. I like to think about packing up a cello kind of like putting a jacket on. So we're gonna lift the cello up, we're gonna put a jacket on. You want the front of your case, so that's the side that where your bow came from and where you've got this little pocket. You want that to be on the same side of the instrument as this wooden piece called the bridge. Not only do we not want to bump this, we want to make sure that we don't pack the cello up backwards. So I'm going to make sure, yes, these two sides match. I'm going to bring the case all the way around. I like to give it a little hug. And now I can zip it up. I'm going to take my loosened bow, slide it carefully back in the case. Make sure the bottom is zipped up. And now my cello and my bow are all packed up. I hope that video was helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions.